Hey folks, Mark back with a little bit of a vinyl update. This is a stack of records that didn't make the last video, mainly because I hadn't listened to them yet, and I wanted to, and then it was just stuff I just would have made the video too long. So I'm going to show these. These have been all listened to. I've spent good time with them, and it's now time to file them away, and so that's what I'm going to do. Hope you're all having a good holiday week that's coming up. We finally got some snow here in Cleveland, so I'm kind of digging the cold weather, putting my coat on, and the skies are all gray, and I actually love this time of year. So without further ado, I'm going to show you some records. This one is Frank Tovey, and it's called Civilian. I actually bought this on cassette when it came out back in '88. Never did buy the album because I had the tape. And it's the second album, I believe, that he recorded under his own name. Previously, he'd recorded under the name Fat Gadget for the Mute record label. Great talent, Frank Tovey. Great talent. That's a really good album, too. If you're looking to get into him, that's a good place to start, Civilian. A couple things I got from the band Single Gun Theory. They're an Australian synth trio. I believe they're a trio. And kind of dreamy, atmospheric dance stuff, maybe a little like Book of Love, but more seductive and a little darker. Maybe more like that. This is an album they did called The Stars in My Hands. I finally picked up a copy of this. And then this is a 12-inch that came off of their 1994 album, Flow, River of My Soul. It's called Metaphysical. Very much of its time. There's a lot of spoken word samples that pop up in their music that firmly date it in the early 1990s, but good songwriting nonetheless. Steel Pulse and an album called Caught You. This came out, I believe, in 1980. It did. And found this just recently. So gave this a listen. Really like it. But Steel Pulse always deliver. Here's one. Been on a little bit of a Billy Squier kick. Yes, a Billy Squier kick. And this is a band he was in before he went solo called Piper. This is a self-titled album. Turns out they have another album under the name Piper as well. Don't have that yet. But, I thought this was a pretty good album. It's not quite as good as Billy Squier's Don't Say No. That's such a high mark for him. But it's pretty good nonetheless. All right, this one I got totally on sale. It was $32 originally. I got it for $15. So less than half off. Sleep, the stoner metal band Sleep, and this is their album Dope Smoker. Spread across four sides of a double picture disc. 3 of the sides is the album, and then the last side is 2 live tracks recorded in the early 1990s. And great stuff if you're into that kind of thing. Sleep, Dope Smoker. A couple of 10-inch singles. This one by Deer Tracks. This is a band that played just recently here in Cleveland, and they were really good. Dreamy, shoegaze, dream pop, synth pop kind of thing. Like if The Wake were on 4AD. It's just a very dreamy synth with guitar flourishes. I mean, it's just quite nice. This is an EP, Soft Dreams. It's by Deer Tracks, DEAR Tracks. They're from Grand Rapids, Michigan. So check them out if you're into that kind of thing. Here's a band that kind of reminded me of a mid-90s Britpop, Dandy Warhols kind of thing with a touch of Jonestown. They're called Battle Me. And this is a 10-inch they did called Weight on the Brain. And it turns out they've got a couple other releases too. I think a full length and another EP. So catchy guitar pop. Made me think a little bit of Boo Radley sometime. I don't know. If you like mid-90s Britpop, you'll like that. Zapp. Been spending a lot of time listening to Zapp lately. I showed their second album a couple of videos back. Well, this is their third one. It's called Zapp 3. And just great funky stuff. Great for roller skating. Great for dancing, getting down. I love it. Just good funk music from the early 1980s, and Roger Troutman using his little vocoder. It's really a good sound. Zapp. I have another one in the pile too. It's the 4th one that I need to get through as well. Here's some moody post-punk kind of sounds from a Spanish band called Ciudad Lineal. This is an album called El Nuevo Hombre. If you like The Cure, early New Order, like pre-Low Life New Order. If you like anything on Factory, 4AD, I mean, this group is right in line with all of that. This album, though, I think is only a couple years old, but that's a really good band, Ciudad Lineal. Check them out. Here's another recent EP. This is by BXI, which is the Japanese band Boris, another kind of stoner rock group, with singer Ian Astbury of The Cult. They did an EP together under the name BXI, and they cover Rain. They do a cover of The Cult's Rain. It's pretty good. So check this out if you're into The Cult or Boris or kind of your hard and heavy rock. I think you won't be disappointed. Now, I'm a big Scritti Politti fan. Love their later stuff, early, mid-period stuff, and early stuff. I like it all. And one of the things I've been after is an EP by a member of Scritti Politti from the Cupid and Psyche 85 era. His name is David Gamson. He hooked up with Green Gartside to create that album. And before that, he had done a 12-inch for Rough Trade on his own, covering the Archies' Sugar Sugar, but disco synth pop style. So it had always, I've had like a low-grade MP3 of this forever. And so I found a copy of this for like $4.99. I'm like, I'll take it. So, hope you didn't, I got a low battery sign here. Hang tight here. I'm going to, there we go. Fortunately, I got one of those little Mophis on my phone, so I can charge my phone as I'm going. But hopefully that low battery sign didn't show up there. All right, as I was saying, before that little interruption, here's another record by Sheila Chandra. She had been in Monsoon, and this is an album called The Struggle. Really great stuff. Kind of Eastern style music. If you're into kind of the Indian style with tablas and, sitars and that kind of thing, this may be right up your alley. The album she'd done before that with Monsoon, it was just incredible. Great, but a lot more of a pop slant to it. A lot of synth pop going on with that release. This is a little more, traditional. Here's an album by the incredible string band. It's called The 5,000 Spirits, or Layers of the Onion. I've been after this one for a long time, and this was a nice, clean copy on our Elektra Records. I think it's even on the red Elektra. Yeah, there. So, been looking for this for a while. I've had a digital copy forever. Great whimsical folk pop, acid folk they might call it, from Britain. And the reason I bought it, well, A, because I like the group, but this has Chinese White on it, which is a brilliant, brilliant song. Look that up on YouTube. I knew it because the band Outrageous Cherry, the psych band Outrageous Cherry, did a cover of it, and I really quite liked it. So, all right, so this group here is called Mixed Feelings, and the album's called Remnants. It's on the Medical label. I think it's got kind of fun vinyl, too. This is a synth pop album. Yeah, look at the vinyl. Isn't that cool? It was described to me as like early OMD, early Depeche Mode, and that's exactly what it was like. Let's see what else they call it. Even they call it early Human League and Newman. I heard a little more Speak and Spell era Depeche Mode, and they're actually from Basildon, England, which is where Depeche Mode are from. So this is a band kind of from the same era. I think these tracks were recorded in '84, but this is a recent release on the Medical label. If you're into like old synth pop, check out Medical Records. They carry and re-release a whole lot of that kind of thing. So, Mixed Feelings. Nice Brit funk from a Brit funk band called Imagination. This is an album called In the Heat of the Night. Contains their glorious stompers, Just an Illusion and Music and Lights. Those are two songs that I've always liked and have always wanted a copy of. Had them digitally, but always wanted to get their album. And it's just good, danceable, and sensual soul music from 1982, Imagination. A couple things I really didn't need, but I got because I like the sleeves, and I just kind of wanted, I wanted real copies. I have digital copies of these. Really huge fan of Ice House. Big Ice House fan, and have pretty much everything by them. They're through the 80s. But a couple things I didn't have was this 10-inch to We Can Get Together. Great power pop song, Ice House. We Can Get Together, and it has two B-sides that didn't make an album. Send Somebody and Paradise Lost. Out on 10-inch there. And then a 12-inch to Hey Little Girl. I like the sleeve of this. And it has an extended dance mix and a single mix on the back, as well as another remix of an older track, Can't Help Myself. Always liked this song, and it was pretty cheap, so I went ahead and grabbed a copy. Here's a group from Liverpool, Ex Post Facto. This is a 12-inch called Oceanic Explorers. Dark synth pop is probably the best way to describe it. Fans of goth music might get into it. I was impressed. I liked it. Wonderful EP I finally got my hands on, Shack. It's called I Know You Well. just a Manchester style, jangly Brit indie pop from 1990. This came out, I believe, in 1990. If you like Stone Roses, you know, The Laws, Charlatans, this is totally up your alley. Shaq was made up of Michael and John Head, who'd previously been in Pale Fountains. So that's another great band, if you're into that. And also, Michael Head is another group, Michael Head and the Strands. So check out Shaq, I Know You Well, if you're very birdsy, too. Very, very birdsy. Huge Level 42 fan. Really, really like Level 42. And the only early record I didn't have by them was this, called The Early Tapes. Came out in the UK only, and it's stuff they recorded in July and August of 1980, I think with the view of it being their debut album. And then it didn't happen for some reason. So a lot of these tracks were scrapped and didn't make the first album. But it does include their first two singles, Flying on the Wings of Love and Love Meeting Love, which I'm a big fan of. If you like Earth, Wind, and Fire, and I don't know, they're a lot more jazzy back then. This is all before Something About You came out in 1985. Still got a little bit of a pop feel to it. I mean, definitely pop, but a lot more jazzy. So this is the era of them I really, really like. This is called The Lodger, British band called The Lodger, an album called Flashbacks. This came out over here on the Slumberland label. Jangly, Brit, pop, you know, not too distinctive, but it wouldn't be out of place on the Creation record label sometime in the 1980s. Just jangly, I don't know, 60s style guitar pop. Now this turned out to be a great surprise. David Vassilotti, he is the guitar player in a new band called Merchandise out of Florida that I really, really like. Went and saw them, and they were incredible. Oh my gosh, if you like Magazine and early 4AD, just moody guitar pop with synth flourishes in it. Merchandise are great. And this completely lived up to my expectations. It's the guitarist, and just great. Everything from post-punk to shoegaze to experimental music. I mean, it's all on this album. It's called Broken Rope, David Vassilotti. Look this up. If you want to YouTube a particular track from it, see if Lady Day Redo is up on YouTube. I was very impressed with this album. Now this is a video, this is a record by a group called the Wah-Wahs. Now it looks like the Hoa-Hoas, but it's the Wah-Wahs. And I got turned on to this from the YouTube vinyl community. The YouTube guy out of Canada named Bobby, he has a channel called Liner Notes. I know because I'm looking up at it, so I could remember what it was. He had shown a bunch of records. I think the thread was show records that no one's had, that nobody has, and that are very unique. So he showed this group because they were from Canada, and he described them as being very psychedelic, and I think even a little bit Manchester-y. And boy, he was right. I went online and grabbed a copy of this, and just great ear candy if you're into psychedelic guitar pop. You know, everything from Dandy Warhols, I know I mentioned them earlier, but everything from Dandy Warhols to The Laws to, you know, bands with a birdsy, beatly feel. That's definitely should be up your alley. And speaking of Merchandise, who I showed that record by a little bit ago, the guitarist, this is something else I picked up at the show. It's an album with 3 bands on it: Merchandise, Destruction Unit, and Milk Music. Destruction Unit are great. I'd seen them at Austin Psych Fest a few years ago, and they are ear-splitting, just guitar noise, but with a good rhythmic feel to it. Even some of the recorded output, unlike live, reminds me a little bit of Bauhaus. Just kind of, I don't know what makes me think of Bauhaus, but it does. Very impressed with Destruction Unit. So anyway, this is tracks exclusive to this release for now. And it's 3 different bands. And Merchandise, of course, they're awesome. The tracks they contribute. All right, couple of dance 12 inches here. Confunction, R&B band Confunction, and the track Miss Got the Body, and just good dance funk. Love it. From 1982. And then I've always liked this song, never did get around to buying it till recently. Don't Disturb This Groove by The System, 12-inch mix. Great track, love it. All right, a few more things to show here. The Corn Dollies, good jangly late 80s English C86 style guitar pop. And this is a self-titled album by them that I picked up just recently. I've had a couple of the singles, Map of the World, which is also on here, and there's another one called Shake that I had. But this is their album. Never did own it. Love it. Here's a kind of something that had been on my list for a long time. Mike Oldfield and John Anderson from Yes had done one 12-inch together called Shine. And I saw the end of this video back when I was like 16 on VH1, right when they started. And I caught the very end of it. And I remember taping it thinking, wow, I love the song. Could never find it. It's not on any album, not that I know of. I've looked on it, endless Mike Oldfield CDs and collections, and it is on none of it. This song has remained elusive. I had to get it off some, like, dodgy SoulSeek or one of those file sharing sites. That's how I had to get this song, to have a digital copy of it. Anyway, found a 12-inch of it just recently, and it's got an extended mix, which is quite good. It's a terrific song. Look it up on YouTube. Shine. Catchy as all get out. Here's a Manchester band from early 1980s, 1980 as a matter of fact, and this is called The Distractions. They had a single on Factory called Time Goes By So Slow. Then they moved over to Island and released a couple of singles on this label. And this is the album that they released. It's called Nobody's Perfect. Had a digital copy of this, but I wanted to get, a nice original of it. Okay, a couple more dance hits here. This one used to tear up the dance floors in the mid-90s in the clubs. This was called Dreamer by Live and Joy. Just dance pop, nothing more, nothing less. But it's a song I've always liked, so it was good to have a copy of that. And another one of my favorite records from the early 80s, Love Come Down by Evelyn Champagne King. Found a long, extended 12-inch version of this. So, great song. I've had the 45 forever, but nice to get that. And then Kool and the Gang. I've always been a big fan of Big Fun. And on the back, you get an extended version of Get Down On It. Kool and the Gang. This is some really good shape. It was like $1. So why not? Okay, a few more to here to sneak in. The Opposition, a moody trio out of England. Kind of in the Bunnyman vein, but post-punk sound. The Sound, Comsat Angels. If you're into those kind of groups, you might want to check out The Opposition. They have a couple of albums out on Virgin. This one is called My Room is White. And this came out on the Double Vision label. So, it's actually Double Vision, but also on Charisma. So from 1985. Good moody guitar pop, indie guitar pop. Album Fresh Cream by Cream. Kind of wanting to pick up their albums little by little, so I dipped my toe in the water and got this one. Fantastic blues rock from Cream. Eric Clapton, Jack Bruce, and Ginger Baker. Needed to get that. Couple more, Edge of the Road, some more late 80s English C86 style guitar pop with the Corn Dollies, that band I showed you a little bit ago. They're on here, a couple of exclusive tracks. The Rain, the Raw Herbs, and the Waltones. Big fan of the Waltones, so there's a couple of tracks by them on here. Gary Myrick and the Figures. Gary Myrick, I think, is from Texas, and they had a song that got a little bit of airplay at the time, 1980, called She Talks in Stereo. Terrific song, great power pop. If you're a fan of, things like Cheap Trick or, 1980s style new wave, even the Cars without the synth, you could do a lot worse than this. Gary Myrick and the Figures. Really good album here, and it's called just Gary Myrick and the Figures. But yeah, YouTube She Talks in Stereo. I think you'll like that one. Dead Neighbors. Now, I got this because the cover looked good. You talk about blind buys. If I'm flipping in the record store and I see a record with this kind of... I love records that have like a white border or just some kind of a border and a picture in the middle. That always kind of... that always kind of gets my attention, this sleeve design in particular. So they were called Dead Neighbors. Dead Neighbors with an O-U. And the album was called Strange Days, Strange Ways. My hand was already on this. I'm like, I'm going to buy this. So I get it home. I just got it because it looked cool. Turns out there's some people in this group that I knew. Knew of. Craig Lawrenson and Will Hedgie. Will Hedgie had previously been the bass player in Cocteau Twins on the first couple of albums before Simon Raymond took over. And the singer is Craig Lawrenston. Well, both of them had been in the band Lowlife, another moody 80s guitar indie band who are fantastic. If you like the Chameleons and things like that, check out Lowlife. Ooh, they're so good. Well, before them was Dead Neighbors. And this is an album much of the same kind of feel to it, but a little harder and a little more of a post-punk feel to it. This is from 1985, Dead Neighbors. Nice little surprise there. Some organic style electronic music from a group called the Chandeliers. It's called The Thrush. this just looked interesting. I love finding kind of oddball synthesized, electronic records. So this was no exception. A little like Air's more up-tempo stuff. And then a post-punk band out of the UK, the Mothman. I'd shown their second album in the last video or the video before last. I'd shown their second album. Well, this is their first, and it is called One Black Dot. Good Manchester post-punk from 1980. All right, and then last but not least, an album I got in Chicago. I did kind of start dipping into my Chicago pile. Been wanting this for a while. Bang. This is a band from 1972, and this is their self-titled debut album, and it's just early proto-metal. If you like Black Sabbath and Deep Purple and things like that, check this out. The original on Capitol is pretty hard to get, but I managed to find a reissue on Savart Records, and on clear vinyl. And this was no disappointment. Loved it. So anyway, that's about it for now, and perfect because we're at 20 minutes, and I really didn't want to go longer than that. I hope you're all doing well, and keep spinning vinyl. And, if you got any questions about anything I bought, leave me a comment, and I'll do my best to answer. Talk to y'all soon.